Tonight for dinner, we're going to have sweet potato fries on the side of my own personal meatloaf recipe. If you're unaware, I'm working my way through this cookbook, one recipe at a time. If that's something that interests you, then be sure to like and follow. I'm going to start out with the meatloaf, then that way I can work on the sweet potatoes while the meatloaf is baking. I've got, it should be a pound of ground beef. They gave me a pound and a half. I'm working with it, it's fine. This recipe is actually going to be the one that my mom taught me. There's no fillers, no bread, no eggs, none of that. Yes, it does still hold together. It has a pouch of some onion soup mix and one of the small cans of evaporated milk. And we're just gonna combine that, work that together, turn it into a loaf. I already have the oven preheating to 375, and we're just gonna bake that. We're gonna start out for an hour. And I like it to get crispy, so I'm gonna take it out and drain all the grease off of it, cut it in half to make sure that it gets cooked all the way through. And then when I have to put the sweet potatoes in, because they're only going to cook for 15 minutes, they're going to be cooking at a higher temperature, so I'm going to pop the meatloaf back in there. I'm going to get started on the sweet potatoes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to peel 6 large sweet potatoes. So now I'm going to slice these into wide strips. We're just going to cut those into French fry sticks and place them in the bowl. I'm pretty sure if her recipes say to put things in a bowl, and then they're going to be transferred later, just skip that step because I have yet to have the placing it in a bowl thing work. It calls for a stick of butter. To my surprise, I have gone through 2 boxes of butter in the last week and a half. So what I do have is I have some garlic butter, and I'm going to go ahead, because it called for the stick of butter and also called for garlic. So I'm going to eliminate the garlic cloves. I'm going to try this garlic butter, and it's got a little bit of cheese and things in it, but I'm hoping it will still work out. I'm going to melt that butter on the stovetop. I'm going to go ahead and combine my spices for when that butter's melted. I need a teaspoon of seasoned salt, a teaspoon of chili powder, a half a teaspoon of pepper. I need 2 baking dishes, and I'm going to split the fries between the 2 of them. If you don't split them, they're just going to be way too crowded. They're not going to cook very well. You want them to cook evenly. Butter's melted, so I'm going to go ahead and add those seasonings to that. I'm just going to pour this over the top of these fries, and then we're just going to kind of mix it all together. Let's try to get them all covered in that butter and seasoning mixture. I'm going to combine a half a cup of mayonnaise and 2 tablespoons of sriracha, and that's going to be the dipping sauce that we're going to use. Meatloaf is ready to come out for the first time, so I'm going to pull that out, and I'm going to bump the heat up to 450. Oven is ready for the fries, so we're going to go ahead and put those in on the top shelf, and we're going to put our meatloaf back in the middle. And we're going to let that go for 15 minutes. So there you have it. Sweet potato fries on the side of my own personal meatloaf, and it's beautiful.